Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mariner's Spirit. I'm Greg. I'm your host. Tonight we have a wonderful guest, a lady that I've known for quite some time. Brilliant mind. She's been involved in probably almost everything that's paranormal. She's quite an author, and she has done everything all the way to acting and worked with the Booth brothers. So before I bring her on, I just want to mention some of the things that I normally do before I get the show rolling. And one of them is that I usually talk about the people I support. One of them's Autographs, and that's with Tim Miley, and he's from Wisconsin. And now there's going to be an addition probably with him coming up on who is Mr. and Mrs. or whatever you would want to call it. But the guy's in love and he's got a great lady, and it's great to have me be able to support him. And so that's the first one. The second one is PKC, Paranormal Kicks Cancer, Chris Gaskowski and Alex Wilkinson, and they're from down in Florida, and they do a lot of events where they go ahead and use them for paranormal for cancer research. Uh, they've been doing that now for quite some time, and it's a pleasure to have them on. And then the last one is the Jessica Petrie Foundation. It's a resource for expecting mothers, families, pregnant and mental. Oh boy, am I killing this tonight? Expecting mothers and families of pregnant women with mental illness. And uh, that foundation was made. That's the daughter of Howard Petrie from the Paranormal United Network. And it's a sad story, but it's a great story in the relationship of what he's been doing for his daughter, and still loves her dearly. And Howard's Howard, and that's what's great about it. And then I'm just going to run down a list of authors, and then we'll be done. We have Tobias Wayland, we have Adam Benedict, Kathy Kressel, C.L. Carter or Cheryl Lynn Carter, Ron Iacovetti, Tony Rathman, Natalie Jones, Patty Negri, Sylvia Schultz, Amelia Cotter, Rex Nielsen, Kathy Kressel, I think I already said her, David Sloan, and Bruce Holliday. Now, the reason I bring Bruce at the tail end of it is because he is one of my favorites, and he always will be, because we do the same kind of thing in ITC. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Sherilyn Carter. Good evening.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
It's great to have you.
Long time.
Long time. It's been about a year and a half?
Yeah.
Something like that. I know I should try to keep it, more on a regular basis, and I try to do that. And every time I do, something else comes up. But my favorites all come back on. Okay, within due time. Uh, I I was really interested in all of the things that you've been doing lately with, of course, I want to say Skinwalker, but I know the last time I talked to you, you were out there on an investigation, or if I talked to you on the phone about it. Could you let everybody know a little bit about that?
Well, I wasn't at Skinwalker. I was at a neighboring property.
Okay.
Which is, they share a fence line. And yeah, it was, I had my recorder going. We like our ITC. And I'm playing it back, and there was actually like, you probably heard two spirits having a conversation while you're standing there, and they're talking about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's quite interesting, And there was a younger woman, and she's trying to tell me something, and the funny part was then the older woman goes, "Shh, stop talking," whatever she was trying to tell me, So that was kind of cool. So then I says, "Does anybody know the native man from Skinwalker Ranch that stands by the stream with the beaver dam?" I said, "Because he talks to me all the time." And somebody said, "He watches you." So that was kind of interesting.
So what do you think? What do you think the guy at the Beaver Dam is?
He's a native man. He's been there forever and ever.
You think he's a medicine man or he's
Yes,
an elder?
he's a medicine man. Yes, he protects the land. Yeah. The, the
So
funny thing is, the funny thing is, I've been going to Sweat Lodge for 7 years, and he first appeared to me in Sweat Lodge, and I didn't know where he came from, and it was from Skinwalker Ranch.
which sweat lodge have you been going to?
There's one in Michigan. It's at Otter Creek. So
Yeah.
he had come all the way to our Sweat Lodge to talk to me.
Well, you're an important person. He's probably got your picture on a bulletin board. It's really interesting when you said sweat lodge, because there's some people that probably don't understand what we're talking about.
Okay, yeah.
So if you want to go ahead and give everybody a brief description of what a sweat lodge is.
I describe a Sweat Lodge. It's like okay, it's like almost like a tent, but not quite, because you have to crawl in on your hands and knees. And in the center, there's a big hole cut in the center, and on the outside there's a fire for the Sweat Lodge that they keep going the whole time. And they put these big stones in the fire. They're called grandfathers, and they will bring them into the Sweat Lodge, into this little circle, and you throw water on them, and it makes steam, and you have visions when you're in there. And let me tell you, those grandfathers get really hot. When you come out of there, it's like you were out in the rain.
And how long are you in there for?
It depends. Depends on the person doing the Sweat Lodge, how long they want to do it.
Is this the same as ayahuasca?
Pardon me?
Is this the same as that ayahuasca, I think it is called?
Could be, yeah.
Where you take a cup and you go back.
So
you
we
start.
drinking stuff. We don't drink anything. We're just no.
That's really amazing. So you do this. You do this on tribal land.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So do you know who Brandon?
My friend has property, and she lives. Her and her husband live there in Michigan. Oh, it's beautiful. They just all the things they have, different sections that they have.
That's amazing. You know who Brandon Cooper is?
Sometimes before we go into Sweat Lodge, we have a pipe ceremony where we call in the four winds. And then we go into the Sweat Lodge, and then we have like a little feast afterwards. Everybody brings something to eat.
So you don't do it overnight or anything like that?
No, not. It's just half hour. It's not a long time. Maybe an hour. Okay. You couldn't be in there too long. You wouldn't be able to breathe.
It's a
very small space. You're sitting. So you're sitting down, and the top's almost touching your head.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I said, you have to crawl in on your hands and knees. So it's.
I pictured it as being a huge dome.
Well, it's a dome, but you can't stand up in it. I said you're crawling. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it's got the animal skin around it, and it keeps the heat in there.
It's well insulated.
Oh, yeah, so it gets hot in there. You can't be in there too long. You hear some people at I don't know what event it was one time where they were trying to get the hottest sweat lodge and a bunch of people died. You can't do that.
Wow.
That wasn't
That's
done on
really,
Native land. No.
that's really, really unbelievable.
Yeah.
So you are a psychic medium,
Mm-hmm.
and you have been doing a lot with ITC.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
we talked
that's my
about
favorite part. Oh,
that's the best part, isn't it?
yeah. Because what,
Mhm.
what what good does it do? All the blinky lights that people have. What does it mean? You know,
Yeah.
something lights up the lights, and what is it? Lassie, is that you? Did Timmy fall down the well? I always say that. I make a joke of that. What is it? I want to hear your voice.
I
Those lights
know
means
I
nothing.
know when you were I can remember I I caught you one day and you had your recorder, and I don't know what else, I can't remember what else you had, but you were talking
Mm-hmm.
to them and they were responding, and I think it was at your house.
Mm-hmm.
Now how do you perceive that? Are you okay with doing it at home?
Well, usually that's my relatives I'm talking to in my house. I
Okay.
don't do other things in my house. No, because you're welcoming them in. I don't want to welcome people into my house I don't know.
Right.
No, my grandmother visits me all the time. She can come and talk to me. That's
Most of the spirits that we have in on Wednesday that come in when we do our double Estes sessions
mm-hmm.
are all usually related somehow to somebody that's
See.
in people that are
Uh-huh.
doing that. So,
I don't
that's
think I could do it. It's just being a psychic medium. I wouldn't know what the spirits are saying anyway, right? That'd be like cheating. So I don't think.
yeah, that would be cheating one.
Yeah, so I don't think that would work with me.
I know now your work, this is the big one of the big subjects, and it's because we all knew the man, and I was very fond of him, and that was Dr. Chuck Kennedy. And I had the opportunity to go over by him numerous times with Chuck Williams, and we used to go over, and he used to help me out. He was always an amazing man with sharing his gifts, and we did things over there that I'll never forget. Now, your relationship with him was what?
Just really good friends. We used to talk once a week. Either I would call him or he would call me.
And
But I
did
was
you?
he started the team called Project Side where we're looking for missing people and doing cold cases and stuff like that. And I was one of the founding members.
So you were with him for how long? Possibly, probably.
6, 7 years.
Yeah, I knew. Every year when Chicago was still big, when all the Paracons, I used to talk. I used to sit down and talk to him when everybody else was going in and seeing, watching speakers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I enjoyed him. I enjoyed him more than anybody else that was around because he was an
Were you at
amazing
the
man.
Chicago Ghost Con when he was brain mapping my brain?
Yeah,
He saw, oh, yeah, that was interesting.
yeah, he did. He did. I was the last one that he did,
Oh,
and I did it over at his little apartment,
how'd that
and
go?
it went very interesting.
See,
And we kept on going from there. I had no idea all these things. I knew, I had a feeling about things. But, when you go to, if I would talk, I see you on a street corner and I start to talk to you about it, you would go ahead and say, this guy is batshit crazy.
yeah, I know how it is. Yeah.
So you have to be, not that I am careful because I've never been one to go ahead and hold anything back with my family, their friends, everybody around knows what I do.
That's different. But if
It's
it's a stranger, it's the same thing with me. If it's a stranger, you go,
you
I've
can
been
it's a
looked at like I was
50-50.
crazy. I've been looked at like I was crazy. But
But
what
that's
do you do? What do you do if a spirit says I have a message for that person?
right.
You know, because
I had
I remember the first time I had a message for somebody. I didn't know who this guy was. He says, "Tell him I had a really good time at the graduation party." Okay, I didn't know who he was, so I was going to get my hair trimmed that day. So I figured it was one of the ladies there. So I walk in, and there was a woman and a teenage daughter, and they were just paying their money, and they were leaving. And the guy yelled at me. He says, "Why didn't you tell them?" I mean, I didn't know who the message was for. And I go, no, no, no. And so I was asking the other ones, did you go to a graduation party? No, no, no. And the guy's yelling at me again. He goes, no, it was those two at the register. Why didn't you tell them I was there? But I don't know if they believe in that stuff, you know.
right. No,
You know, and if he just died and, you know, don't want him to get mad at me and well, get out of here, you know.
there's sometimes though that I would just go ahead and take the chance.
Well, now after he yelled at me, then I do it anyway.
But I want to mention something because there's a gentleman in here uh, from London, and his name is Peter Mellon, and he's asking for a link. And the only thing I can tell you, Peter, is if you go to Supernatural Link, uh, if you go there and go to the network, you will find us there. Supernatural Link design is usually what the shows come through, but if you get to that point, you'll be cooking with gas.
Mhm.
So, and I apologize for that interruption, but I thought as long as he was from
Yeah, he doesn't know where he's
England,
looking at. Yeah,
I wonder if he knows where Biggin Hill is. That's
I'm
always a good question.
sure.
But anyway, so on that same note of what you're talking about, you know who Sandy Frankowski is?
Name
Sacred
sounds
Sandy.
familiar, but I don't know.
She does stones. She does stones. She's a psychic medium, and she's from pretty much central Wisconsin almost.
Okay.
And she's a wonderful Cornwall, Sandy Frankowski Cornwall.
What does she do with the
Uh,
stones?
she sells them.
Oh,
She said,
I thought she was doing readings with stones. I was wondering.
no, just
Okay, okay.
all the different types, and she does a fantastic show. And I've been watching her forever since I got this note. And at the last Chicago Paracon, I had a booth right next to her booth, and I had never met her before. And you know how on Friday night you're setting up and nobody's really talking too much.
Mhm.
And I got everything ready and set up, and I introduced myself. And she said for a minute, she says, "Oh, well, I've been wanting to meet you." I says, "No, I wanted to meet you," because she's a magnificent psychic medium. Well, as it turned out, the next day she came in and she came over to me and she had this piece of paper.
Mhm.
And this is how long ago this was when this happened. And it says sailor, PTSD, loud booms, uh, shell fire, shell shock, grandfather, D-Day, Pearl Harbor, second thought on move, something with your new house, or check everything. And she gave me this,
Wow.
and I had at the point, it was like, well, why would she give me this about Pearl Harbor? And then it was like, it was the beginning of World War II, and that was my father.
Uh,
And my father he went through all the same kind of PTSD stuff that we did, only back then they used to drink a lot more than we would. But, it was something that it was the first one I have ever gotten. And it was like, and I save it and I leave it because it reminds me of where my roots start too,
Mhm.
and that's why it's important. Now, as far as your, when you were with Dr. Chuck
Mhm.
and you guys were working on all these projects,
Right.
it was pretty much under the table. Nobody really knew about what you guys were doing, I understand.
No, we just wanted to do a case. That's why we didn't want to be like the Long Island medium and go look at me. We just wanted to help people solve cases and be done. We didn't want people to have a big parade and all that, We just wanted to do
I
our,
know
and no, we didn't get paid for it. We just did it because we wanted to.
I know there were a lot of ladies that I knew that were all part of the Chicago that would come down from Wisconsin that would all be part of the Paracon. And it was always very, very interesting to see what was going on and, who they were. And they're all my friends still today. And, that's what's really cool about it is the fact that it is like a fraternity as far as the people that are involved in it. And I know you love it to death, and I know you love what you do, and it's great to go ahead and find things in your life that keep you moving.
Yeah,
I can
you're not.
remember
You can't dream about things. You have to do things.
I can remember you and I talking in Antioch, Illinois, and that's when they had haunt the town, and they had the whole entire town, and we were all in different locations, and that was after you and me were talking with Katie Stafford and
Mhm.
at the booth at one of the Chicago Paracons. I want to say I don't remember which one it was, but it's been not a real long journey, but it's been a journey, and I'm glad to say that you're one of those people that I will always remember.
No,
You know, it's really cool that way. Oh boy. No, it says, you, you're a writer. You're like a freelance writer for the Paranormal magazine too.
Paranormal Underground. Yes, I have my
And
own
what
column.
you got your own what?
My own monthly column, the Carter Files. Yeah.
The Carter Files.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's cool. I got to get one of those magazines.
It's
That'd be
online. You can't buy them. It's online. You'll have to
okay.
print it up.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it's under. What's it under?
You can find it on Facebook, Paranormal Underground magazine.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
For all those people that would be interested in seeing exactly what CL does, and I call her CL because I get tongue tied with Cheryl Lynn for some reason. I don't know why, but and then we went ahead and we wanted to go talk briefly about your actress roles. And have you worked with anybody besides the Booth brothers?
Yeah, remember the movie Rosalie?
Yeah,
That's the first time I did.
and
That
that
was
was that was the Booth brothers, though, right?
no,
It wasn't.
no, Christopher Maggart.
Okay. And then you did, and what role did you do with the Booth brothers?
The Attached.
Okay. That was the one that we had at the last Paracon in Chicago where they had the box
Uh-huh.
when they came up and talked. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. But and it's not. I just use that term lightly. I
I know
mean,
it's being crazy. Yeah, crazy
yeah,
good.
it's one of those things that that fuels you after you see it. So it brings validity to exactly how you look at things. And
The thing is, when we did Rosalie, it was a story about a mother who, how should I say, I was Rosalie's mother. Um, she was kind of, doing the candles. This was a long time ago, doing the candles and, calling in spirits and everything. And she made some kind of deal with the spirit, and her unborn child became possessed. And this child became Rosalie. And so it's a little girl that, Post Town Elementary School. This is where it took place.
okay.
And the little girl went to school there. And the story was that she got one of the teachers really mad at her, and he pushed her down the back stairs, and killed her. Now that's a story just all made up. Well, I've investigated that place so many times, and I went down by the back stairs with my recorder, and I got a little girl that said, they pushed me down the stairs and I hurt my head. So something really did happen like that, whoever that was.
I know I've been there quite a few times myself. It is one of my favorite locations. That I have a film clip that I recorded in the doll room.
I was going to say the doll room's my favorite place.
And mine actually has the doll, and behind the doll, I had an Eddy plus meter set up, and I just was filming it, and they came up, and you know how those little plastic chairs are for the kids, and the Eddy plus has a rubber on the bottom and the rubber case, and it's very hard to move. So it was sitting in front of the doll, and
It's heavy, yeah.
And I was reviewing my film, and I was going along, and I'm going, and I said, this is really boring, and I advanced it, and then I looked down, and I could see her foot, her right foot, and which originally was, you could just barely see the tip of her foot, and then whenever I advanced it to, it was all the way up past the foot. It was up by her knee. And then I thought, wait a minute. So I went back and I redid it again and again and again. And the whole entire process of her moving, I want to say, was something like 28 minutes.
Wow.
And they moved that thing so slowly that it went all the way over like this, and you could see half the doll.
Wow.
And I have that on my page, but it's one of those things. When I first saw it, I thought, you're seeing things.
Yeah.
And
I remember my friend and I, we took the Connect in there, and we actually had like a child riding that rocking horse. There was a child riding the rocking horse. And then it's a picture, I didn't do video. It was like one child chasing another one across the room. Those were two just wonderful things.
We had them where they came up and grabbed, like, when you're walking down that hallway going down towards that room, and you have all those windows on this side. We've done a lot of sessions right there in storms and stuff. And
by the bad teacher's room, yeah.
Yeah, and we were walking. Me and this other person were walking, and they actually grabbed, as we were walking side by side. They reached up and grabbed they grabbed my little finger with this ice cold hand, is the only way I can describe it. And we walked all the way down the hallway with them, and then they let go. And it was like, wow.
Cool. Yeah. I remember when we were filming Rosalie, we were packing all the equipment up, and Christopher left one of his microphones upstairs. So everybody's gone, all the lights are off. So I had to walk down the hall, by the bad teacher's room. I had to go all the way down the other end of the hall to get his microphone. And I'm thinking, well, you're pretty stupid. being up here all alone. You know, something could happen to you. And you know, spirits can tell what you're thinking. And as soon as I said that, that door on that room slammed really hard, and I said, "Oh, that was good." Yeah,
That's
spirits
crazy.
spirits know what you're thinking. They do.
So you have a lot of books.
I've written 11 books. Yes.
What are your two favorite books that you've written? Or three?
Well,
Whatever you decide.
my new one is called Chosen. It's about UFO encounters and abductions. And I still like my Mysterious Triangles book.
Okay. How many different triangles do you talk
I've got
about in
I've
that?
got 12 in this book, but I mean there's I went by state.
Do you have that one between Virginia? What is it? Virginia, Ohio, and is it Kentucky?
Yeah, Big Lick, Big Lick Triangle. Yes.
And what do you think about our friend, the Mothman?
Oh, of course.
You've been out there, of course.
No, have not been out there. I've not been there. No, I have not been out east. I've been everywhere. I have not been out east. Now, I actually in my Dimensions book there was it was I think 20 years before the Mothman. There was something that happened in another state where there was a like a mysterious man. They I'll make a long story short. There was this valley and they had a lumber mill up on the top and they built a dam so that they had the water to run the mill. And the guy that was had the guys building the dam, he kind of cut corners because he said, "Come on, you spent enough time. Winter's coming. You need to just get this thing done." And he says, "Well, we need to reinforce." "No, I'm not spending any more money. Just do it." He goes, "Well, I don't think it's gonna be strong enough." "No, you're fine." So okay, so there was a woman that lived up on top of the hill. And nobody ever really, the nice ladies in town never said her name unless they're talking about that prostitute up on top of the hill. And so there was a train that went through. And pretty soon, there was this mysterious man in black that was riding the train. And nobody knew who he was, where he came from. He didn't talk to anybody. Nobody decided to talk to him for some reason. And so they keep seeing him riding the train. Sometimes he'd be running in between the cars. Sometimes they saw him running across the top of the train. You know, who was this mysterious man? And all of a sudden, one day, the lady on top of the hill heard a large crack and the dam broke. And so she ran down there and was telling everybody to get up to higher ground. And the town got wiped up, but nobody died. And they never saw that man in black again. So was he a harbinger of bad news like the Mothman? I believe so.
Wow, that's really interesting.
It would have been
I know
interesting
that
if somebody would have talked to the man and said, "Why are you here? What do you want?" But he was a stranger,
that
so nobody wanted to bother him.
there's a lot of interesting things that you've seen and you wrote about, and those those instances or events. I would probably use the word events would be
Yeah,
probably
I
better.
call him Vancia.
How when we talked about your books, now let's talk about the events.
Okay.
Are there what were the ones that had the most influence on you as far as the paranormal?
Well, I'm going to talk UFOs, I guess. Um, the reason I joined MUFON in the first place and why I'm writing this book is I was just driving down the street in the middle of the afternoon, probably 6 years ago, 2 o'clock, beautiful blue sky in the summer. And all of a sudden the sky just tore open and this silver saucer came up, and it just hovered there, and just hovered there. And I don't know if it had lights or anything because I could only see the bottom of it. And nobody else is looking. I go, does anyone else see this big saucer up there? And I don't know, I was watching it maybe 10 minutes. And then I just couldn't take my eyes off of it. I don't know why. Was I not supposed to see it? Was I supposed to see it? And that's when I wish I had a camera phone back then, but I didn't. Didn't have a camera at all. And so then the craft went right back into the hole, and the sky just sealed up like nothing happened. So that's one of the craziest things that ever happened to me, which made me want to just know more about everything.
Oh, is there anybody particular in that end of, how could you say, the investigative side that really influenced you more than anybody else?
Linda Mutenhow.
Okay, why don't you tell everybody about Linda? Just give a brief.
I don't know if anybody's watching Ancient Aliens tonight because the whole show was about her.
Okay.
She's was way back at the beginning an investigative journalist, and she first started investigating cattle mutilations because she didn't believe it was just people who were doing it. She believed it was aliens that were doing this to animals. And then pretty soon she found out that it wasn't just, animals that were being abducted. There were also people. So then she started getting into all the stories of people that were abducted and in their encounters. And she's got her own podcast every week that she does. She's got all different stories about all kinds of really cool stuff. Tonight she was talking about crop circles. That's one of my goals. I want to be there when there's a new crop circle. I want to stand inside of it. I want to see the intricate patterns that there's supposed to be sound in this crop circle. I want to see a crop circle.
Or do you think it's frequencies or vibration?
It is. There's actually tones in there that you can hear. I've heard from people that have seen it, and I says, I want to see one.
We used to, have a bunch of booze, and we'd be up there on the beaches north of Hancock and Houghton, the ones where they mined the iron ore.
Mm-hmm.
So they had the black sand beaches, and we'd have a big fire going, and we'd be right on Lake Superior. And some of the nights, it was like, what in heaven's name are these? I says, those are fighter planes. And then all of a sudden they would stop and they would go,
the planes can't do that.
And I'm going, no, that's not an airplane. And I was 17. And it was like, ever since those things happened, plus we had a old Finn that ran our house, the kids that went to school up there. And he used to tell me stories of things that he saw and everything like that. And it really fueled not only my curiosity, but also my imagination.
Yeah. Now,
do some of the things that you've seen fuel your imagination too, or just your curiosity?
Oh, absolutely. That's what I says. People just go, yeah, that's cool. I saw that. Well, don't you want to know why it happened? And does it occur in this place over and over? Which a lot of crop circles in the UK, they appear in the same place over and over. That is just amazing. And they're all geometric patterns, sacred geometry patterns. It's not somebody out there with boards.
What is your favorite all-time newsworthy sighting that's happened in the world? No, I mean your favorite.
There's just so many. I don't know. Too many just to even say.
You don't have one where, like they do up in Wisconsin, where the spacecraft lands and the guy gets out and gives the guy pancakes. Remember that one?
I still like Rendlesham Forest. When you really, like in my book, when you really get into what I didn't just tell about these encounters that people had, because like I said, people hear the story and go, okay, life goes on as usual. Everybody lives happily ever after, but that's not true. Because these
No,
people have a sort of PTSD from what they saw because they don't know what it is.
and you're ready the next day to go ahead and jump in your vehicle and drive to the scene of the sighting, right?
Well, it's kind of too late by then. Yeah.
I mean, just for
If
your
there
own
was
curiosity.
something close to me, I probably would, sure, to see if there was any kind of evidence on the ground or something.
Do
But
you think there?
I also had a lot of these people had hypnotic regression then, and so then now you hear more of the story that you didn't hear before.
What is your favorite one on that?
Well, I says, let's see, who's the one?
It's
Yeah,
not
in
the
the
guy that
Rendlesham,
was the lumberjack.
no, in Rendlesham Forest, because Sergeant Peniston, the one that touched the craft and got the binary code download,
Wow.
he says they took him back. He had to fill out a report. So he filled out a report, but he didn't say that he saw a UFO on there. Because they'll send you away somewhere. The military, they'll send you away somewhere like you're goofy. And he says, no, no, no. But they kept interrogating him there, and he says there was some guy in a black suit. So there was men in black right back there. And he says, I don't know where he came from, but he was somebody from the military. It wasn't military, but he had a black suit. And they kept asking me about the code. How'd they know about the code? I didn't tell them about the code. So see, they knew what was going on in that forest too. So when he had hypnotic regression, I think I don't know, remember who did it. And they're asking him, what did you, what did you see? Did you tell us about the code? And he says, no, no, can't talk about it. Can't talk about it. What can't you talk? Can't talk about that stuff. It's forbidden. It's forbidden. Well, who says forbidden? And he says, they did. He goes, they go, who? The men in the black suits. It's forbidden. Can't talk about it. Can't talk about it. And they said, well, what do you mean? And he says, they gave me a shot in my arm. I can't talk about it. So who knows what they did? And they go, well, what do you remember? He goes, the nursery rhyme. The nursery rhyme. What nursery rhyme? Mary had a little lamb, as fleece as white as snow. Everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. They put that into his brain instead of the binary code. The men in black.
Holy cow.
So that is frightening. But he had already written down the code before he went for his interrogation. But yeah, why would they do that? And why did they know about the code when he didn't even tell them about that in the first place?
Do you think there's a reason why they're opening up now and divulging all this information they've been holding on to for like 50 plus years?
They're not divulging anything. The whistleblowers are divulging. The government's not doing anything. What they give? They give us one tic tac. That's all we're gonna get. We're gonna get the tic tac. No, it's the whistleblowers that are coming forward. Yes.
And those people are those people, in your viewpoint,
Mm-hmm.
legitimate?
Yes. Yes, because there was like another person in my book, Mario Woods. He actually testified before Congress. He says, "I want
That's
people to
awesome.
know. Yeah, I want people to know."
You feel, and I'm just going to say this, you feel extremely proud and everything you've accomplished. That's what I'm picking up. And,
You should be proud of your work. You did a lot of research. You should be proud of your work.
okay. And now, as far as the next couple of years, do you have any real goal as far as what you really want to dig into?
I says I really want to find a crop circle.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
I'm still getting into the UFO stuff because so much stuff I've seen and I don't understand it.
Have you heard the predictions that people have been making about them coming?
No,
No?
no,
Okay.
what's that?
I just asking if you did,
Mm.
because the people that have been mentioning it are always talk about years, so many years, and then there's going to be something that's going to happen. And it's going to be in
They're
direct
not coming.
relationship.
They're already here. They've been here.
Oh yeah,
You know,
I agree.
some are coming from other planets. I think some are coming from other dimensions. Some are probably coming from our water on Earth. They've been here.
Okay, that brings up a very good
Some
point.
have been here, but yeah,
No, I mean about the water.
yeah,
Now, there's been a lot of interesting things that have happened in the ocean.
right.
The Marianas Trench, areas like that off of California. And do you have any idea, or do you have any way of looking at the fact that when they come down out of the sky and they hit the water, they leave no splash?
I know.
Is there anything that you can think of?
That's just amazing how they can do that. Yeah, they don't make a sound. They come back out of the water. They don't make a sound. What are they doing under the water? Heck, there's creatures under the ocean that we don't even know yet. They're discovering stuff all the time. So and we don't even know how deep the ocean is. Where the heck is there another city down there? We don't know.
Right. When they go ahead and they say that our exploration, we've only covered like about 10% of
I know.
all the water on the planet.
Yeah. So how do we know what's going on down there?
That's really unbelievable stuff. And it's amazing. And it's really interesting that you have done so much work already at such a young age, and you've got all this to look forward to. Have you ever thought about them coming to visit you?
Well, when we do CE5, we're right down by a woods, and something has come out to see us, but I can't tell you what it was.
Can you visually make out that it's something?
I've actually got photos. It happens when we use singing bowls, so all that vibration.
Okay.
I swear the vibration from the singing bowls attracts. Yeah, the first time we form a circle, and I'm facing the woods because I want to see if something's going on back there, and I know there's nothing in the woods because I've walked through those woods in the daytime. There's nothing there. So he's doing singing bowls, and all of a sudden it looked like somebody turned on 2 flashlights. And it was far enough away, so these lights had to be like beach ball sizes. And I turned on my FLIR. And I go, yeah, they got the heat signature. And all of a sudden he keeps playing, and the balls start dancing. And they're changing places. And the one goes up and down, and they're changing places. And I'm telling people, look. And they look and they go, they're looking up in the sky. I says, I don't know. Nothing's happening in the sky right now, but there's something happening right here. And there's only 2 of us watching. Nobody else even cared. So I wish I would have been doing video, but I do have pictures of it. And as soon as he stopped the singing bowls, it's like somebody turned the flashlights off. What that was, I don't know.
Now, when you mentioned CE5, Dr. Stephen Greer,
Mm-hmm.
caught my eye about 5 or 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that comes out, I gobble up. You know, if it's on the TV, if he's got another movie out or whatever. Do you feel that he's really a dangerous person as far as the government's concerned?
No, why do they think he's dangerous?
Well, he keeps on mentioning the fact that he may not be around too long. And I
Because
was just curious.
they don't want people talking about this. You know that.
Okay.
You know they have a lot of information they're keeping from us.
What did you think about when they go out and they do their CE5 experiments out in the desert?
Who?
And they'll have like 20 or 30 people. Oh, it's
Stephen
Greer. Yeah.
Oh, he does does like 100 people. I see. I wouldn't want to be in a group with 100 people because whatever you're going to attract, you got to have good energy. You know, like when you're investigating, you got to have good energy in your group. 100 people, you could have all kinds of people looking at their phone or whatever.
Right.
We usually have a small group, maybe 12, not too many people. You know.
You think 12 is your limit?
A good group. We've had bigger groups and nothing happened that night.
I mean, if you all have the same intention, and you go in there, you know,
well, I wouldn't do more.
wanting.
I don't think I'd do more than 20. You know, he does groups of 100. That's just too much.
I think that's like a money grabber thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in that.
I don't know. I don't even.
Remember one night we had. I like when we have the same kind of people meeting up. But you know, you'll get groups where you get people that are coming there. They want to see UFO. You guys are going to call it in. You know, they came there for entertainment. So we had. I guess there was about three. I want to say 20 somethings. They're probably younger. And that's all they were doing. And they had a bag of food. They're crunching on their chips. The one guy's just going crazy because there's a lot of mosquitoes outside at night, and you better have your cutters. He didn't have any cutters. And he kept slapping his face real hard when a mosquito would bite him. And I go, oh my gosh. He just drove me nuts. So you think we saw anything that night? We saw nothing.
So you eliminated him from his party list.
Well, he only came for once because nothing happened, but that's why nothing happened. Because you gotta focus.
Do you ever have a pre sort of like a meeting before you guys do?
We always do, yeah.
And how long does that normally take, and what do you entail in it?
Well, we explain to people, you know, what a CE5 is, you know, and about Dr. Greer. And what we're expected to do that night. You know, you're supposed to get in your circle and meditate. You should not be talking. But, you know, like I said, these people were just talking all night. If you're talking, you're just breaking the mood.
And if you get up and sort of tell them they have to leave, that breaks the mood even more.
Well, no, nobody can break the circle. You have to stay in the circle until we're done. Right? If you break the circle, you're breaking the circuit of your energy.
You're gonna have to bring a bunch of duct tape. Duct tape
even
chair.
one night I had my what did I have? I had my tri-field meter sitting on the grass, and my friend next to me had his tri-field meter. I have a picture of this too. It looked like a hand reached over from his side and touched mine. It almost looked like a claw hand. And it wasn't either of our hands because it was laying on the ground in front of us. I just happened to get a good picture. And you know, why would you be getting a reading on grass? You wouldn't. And then that same night, we saw circles of light in the grass, in the circle. What was that?
Wow.
You know, some things could be elementals that we're calling in. I mean, you don't know what. You can be calling in all kinds of things. Like, I don't know what those lights were. Were they just elementals? Who knows what they were?
They could have been, huh?
Could have been. Could have been something else. I don't know. But I actually have another picture of I saw a ball of light another time in front of the woods, and I just took a picture because, oh, there's another one. And when I went home and enlarged it on my computer, it looks like a little alien baby. So what was that? It was sitting in the grass.
I wanted to go ahead and go through here real fast and mention the people that are here. And it's not that long. So you had Carol Garcia, Brian Wells, Peter Mellon. He is the gentleman from London. Timmy Corpse, Carol Garcia again, Becky Evans, Linda Judd. These are all people that I know that have been around. You know them too, probably, I would say. I want to see if there was anybody else in here. That Linda Judd. She says, I remember doing, well, let's just put it up there.
I've never heard of using drums.
Well, this is probably goes to the Sweat Lodge, maybe.
Yeah,
or
we do
some
that. We do
Native
that.
America.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
But it's interesting because I figured that if it would call, it could call to different things.
Well, that's what we do before we go into the sweat lodge. Yeah, sometimes we have drums. I was so excited that this year I got to make my own drum. Boy, is that hard. It's hard to make a drum. It takes 4 hours.
4 hours.
Oh, yeah.
You're not just using a coffee can and a plastic top and beating that.
You get an elk hide, a big piece of elk hide, and you get the wooden frame. You got to sand the wooden frame and stain it. And then you're going to get this elk hide and you're going to lace it. Well, you just don't go to the store and buy laces. You get some more. You get another elk hide and you cut little strips. And then you stretch it. You got to keep it wet and stretch it until it makes string. That could take you an hour. You're stretching this. It's hard. And then you got to lace it all up. Yeah, it took us 4 hours to make a drum.
Are you going to be doing a lot of CE5 experiments next year?
Probably. I could still do some this year. It's still early.
Yeah, this is probably the best time. Now that it's starting to get a little cooler, the mosquitoes aren't.
Oh my gosh, they're so bad. But we take our cutters, so we know.
Now, what is she? Last time we did an investigation at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, it's been that long. I don't know what she's referring to, but that was Becky. That's one of my favorites. Ronnie D is a neighbor of mine from the town.
Is he?
So we get together every once in a while. But I want to go ahead and thank you. Next time, if we can go ahead and get some way to get some pictures together, and I know.
Yeah, I gotta get you those pictures.
We'll get them. We'll get them so we can do a whole little series of some of the things that you've experienced. And
yeah, because I don't know what I took pictures of. It was interesting. It's nothing that I've seen as a paranormal investigator. It's completely different. So I don't know what it is.
Well, we all have those.
Yeah, because when you're investigating it, it looks like a person. These do not look like people. What are they?
Well, there wasn't anybody in the picture before, and now there is.
I've had that happen. Yeah.
That's the kicker.
How does that
So
happen?
Becky says, me and Cheryl.
And
are you friends? We're good friends with Becky?
we met at Old South Pittsburgh.
Okay, that's where. Okay, she's a great lady.
That that
She's
was that was before that was we were investigating right before they closed it down.
the first time.
Yeah,
That's when the woman sold it,
yeah, because she couldn't pay her taxes. She lost it.
right? And
Mhm.
that's when Ronnie picked it up.
Yeah,
But
I
we
haven't
were in
I
there
haven't been
too.
back since Ronnie got it.
We had a we had a picture of some huge dude that was in the hallway down where the doctor had his car. Remember where the car was stashed off
Hmm.
the emergency entrance? And I can remember going down there all by myself at about 3 o'clock in the morning and just holy cow, I don't know what it was, but it was right behind me and it was big.
Remember, I don't know if they still have it in the basement. The all the pews from the church.
Yeah.
Is that still there?
They were, I don't know if they are now.
Okay, so when we went there, I says, "Oh, it's a chapel." No, it's not a chapel. We just got these and we put them down there. So we're down there with the recorder. Well, I don't know what to tell you, but there were people getting ready for Easter Sunday. So their spirits were attached to those things. Whether you want to say, yeah, they were talking about getting their Easter bonnets, and yeah, I'm not kidding. And I went out and told them. They go, "No, that was never a church." I says, "I'm telling you, something's attached to your pews."
You know Mike Wright?
Like, right.
Big tall guy.
My
He was
name
part
sounds
of
name sounds
he was
familiar.
part of GRS, and then he left when we left, and he was with me the first time we went to Old South Pittsburgh. We drove straight through. We got there, and we were a little early. Nobody was there to let us in. We were on the back side of the hospital, and I got out of the car and I started to walk, and I walked towards the emergency room entrance back there, and it was all glass all the way up, and it had the two glass doors. And I can remember going ahead and going up to the doors and just looking, and all of a sudden the doors started to do one of the seriously,
I
and
believe.
I'm standing there.
I thought you were gonna say something. Look back at you.
I'm standing there going, "What the?" And he's like 10 feet behind me, and he says, "Why are you shaking the doors?" And I go, "Michael, I'm not even close to him." And the noise it made, I had him come up because he's so much bigger, trying to duplicate the noise the doors
And you
make.
can't. Yeah,
He couldn't even come close. I mean, the glass even expanded.
had to be somebody
You
really
could,
strong. Yeah, that's what I
so,
like. People always say, that this is haunted building. Well, there's a lot of stuff happening outside those buildings too.
so it was crazy, but
Yeah.
it's been awesome having you on. It's always one. You're always one of my favorites,
Mhm.
Dan, and it just makes my day. And I'm glad.
Remember the time we met and we were freezing up at that event up at the golf course with Chris Fleming.
Oh, at the
It was
golf
It
course.
was Ursula's event. Was it up in Wisconsin?
Okay, oh, way out in Woodstock.
Yeah, yeah. It
Yes,
was. Remember that? How cold we were freezing because there was no heat in that place.
right. That was a crazy time.
And they turned the lights off and we're going, "Oh, this is fun."
Did Dr. Chuck speak at that one?
I don't think so. No, I don't think he was there.
No, he wasn't there, but I thought they did a live with him
I don't
on
remember.
the
I just remember
screen,
being in the dark and being cold.
freezing to death.
It was, and and you're a vendor, and they turn the lights off. Nobody's going to come over to your table in the dark. What the heck?
Okay,
That was an
you know,
experience, all right.
we'll get together next time, and we'll go ahead and talk about that some more. But it's been lovely having you on, and
Been fun,
I
yeah.
want to say it's everything. If everybody wants to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you?
Oh, I'm on Facebook all the time. I have a website. I'm on
You're on,
Instagram. I'm on X,
you're on what's X?
or the old Twitter.
The real Twitter.
Yeah. I'm so good I don't call it that anymore.
It's been great. So if you want to hold on for a few, I'm going to go ahead and shut her down. Okay, everybody. It's been a great show. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And we will see you Wednesday for another episode of One Spirit Connect. And besides that, have a great weekend. See you guys later. Bye bye.